All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, as we all know, Aaron Rodgers has still not made up his mind about, what he wants to do with his future. Clearly it's Super Bowl week. And then after this weekend is the 4-day and 4-night darkness retreat. Okay, we don't know exactly when that begins, right? So we can't start the countdown necessarily on Monday or Tuesday. We don't know when he's entering the cave or house, wherever he's going to be going. Still up in the air. Now, obviously, there's a lot of talk about the Raiders, the Jets. The Titans talk is kind of cool, but definitely still an option. And, we look at the Green Bay Packers. It's not a stretch to say that could very well be a playoff team next year. Are the Vikings really going to go 11-0 in one-score games? I think when we look at probability, they might take a small step backwards. You look at Green Bay's chances of winning that division, it's definitely up there. Green Bay is not out of it. They're not projected to be picking in the top 5 whatsoever. Now, there's a lot of free agents that the Packers have, but the bottom line is this. There's a very, very good chance that Rodgers would want to remain with the Green Bay Packers for this upcoming season, maybe 2 years from now. We'll see how it plays out, but in this one, I wanted to talk about a quarterback that isn't, we look at Vegas odds. Nobody's really, saying we need this guy. It's just an interesting thought. It's just an interesting possibility here. If Rodgers decides to stick with the Green Bay Packers, it's Jordan Love. Now, there was a small report that came out from a Packers insider that basically said that Jordan Love could request a trade if Rodgers were to remain with the Green Bay Packers because Love feels like he's ready to go. Love feels like he can play. I mean, we're going to talk about him in a second, but, if we look at the contract setup, Jordan Love was a first-round pick. He's entering year 4 now, 3 years on the bench. That is rare these days, right? It's kind of funny how it's, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers replacing Aaron Rodgers, who did the same exact thing with Brett Favre. Little ironic, but, in today's day and age, like, teams are just rushing their young quarterback out there. If he, does well, then great. If not, then we're just going to move on quickly. Love has had the absolute luxury of not only just sitting and watching a veteran do it, but watching one of the best quarterbacks of all time do it. He knows that Matt LaFleur system inside and out. We look at the physical traits. They're insane. There's a big reason why he was drafted in the first round out of Utah State. The arm strength, he does have somewhat of a quick release. There's been times where he's been able to show off pinpoint accuracy. Obviously, he can make plays outside of the pocket. He can extend plays. He's a mobile quarterback. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. Physically, Love is all there, right? Physically, Jordan Love makes a ton of sense when we're looking at really asking the question, can this guy step in and fit the mold of an NFL franchise quarterback? So we look at his time on the bench. We look at his physical traits. We look at where he came from at Utah State. He definitely projects well into the future. And on top of that, I know the whole Nathaniel Hackett connection is linked to Aaron Rodgers here. They're tight off the field. We all know this. But when we take a look at when Nathaniel Hackett joined the Green Bay Packers, it was the same year that the team selected Love in the first round. When they made that decision as a front office and as a coaching staff, we could be moving on soon. We got to go get Love. So not only has Jordan Love worked with Hackett, but he knows the system and terminology. So the hypothetical learning curve here would be accelerated, assuming Love was a member of the New York Jets. Now, in order for that to happen, obviously Rodgers has to come back to Green Bay. Green Bay has to want Aaron back. Jordan has to request a trade, and then the Packers could then flip Love to the Jets. Now, when we look at a possible trade compensation, it's so tough to kind of project because we have we don't really know what Aaron's going for. We don't know what his market value is. But then Love, he has such a small sample size on the field as an NFL pro. Do the Packers want to give up on a guy like that? I think, it's an interesting question, but Green Bay, just like they've been this entire time, they're in between a rock and a hard place. They just don't hold a lot of the cards here. Rodgers can threaten retirement. He can really pick where he wants to go, and he's owed so much money. we take a closer look at Love's stats, he's only had one start throughout his time with the Green Bay Packers, but he has appeared in 10 overall games. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and just over 600 passing yards. It's just such a small sample size. We're taking a look at Love. To me, it's just kind of impossible to say, okay, this is exactly who Love is. We can take drives, we can take the good, we can take the bad, we can take specific plays, how he's been able to read defenses and whatnot. Can he process quickly? When is he escaping the pocket? Does he step up into the pocket? And we can look at that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just the sample size is not big enough to say franchise quarterback or bust. Right, so that's the big question mark here, and that might be a deterrent for the New York Jets, because we've all heard it from Woody, from Robert Saleh, from Joe Douglas. A veteran, an experienced veteran quarterback is the move for New York. Whether that's an A-Rod, a Jimmy G, Derek Carr's looking unlikely as of now. Tannehill's definitely been thrown around, and it seems like Tannehill's been picking up steam over the last couple of days, so just something to monitor there. And also to keep in mind that Keith Carter, the Jets' new running game coordinator and offensive line coach, came from Tennessee. So the Jets do have that firsthand look in-house. So maybe something happens there. But, Tannehill, 34 years old, coming off the ankle surgery, not the worst option in the world, but definitely not one of the top 3. But an option nonetheless. Josina Anderson. This is something that's super interesting. Josina Anderson reported yesterday, actually, on CBS Sports, that the New York Jets may be considering quarterbacks that may become available who aren't necessarily known to be available right now. And we look at Jordan Love, and he would fall into that category, right? Jimmy G wouldn't, A-Rod wouldn't, but Love would. So it kind of makes you think, is the Jets' backup plan a guy who's worked with Hackett, a guy who's 24 years old, a guy who has an enormous upside and has had three years on the bench? He could request a trade. He would come in and understand the system. He's still on his rookie deal. Okay, the 5th-year option still needs to be picked up because of where he was drafted. Again, being in the first round. It's interesting. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about Jordan Love. Is this something to consider? Would you consider it? Do you like Jordan Love as a prospect? I've talked to some people that do, some people that don't. The majority of people, gotta be honest, don't, just because there's not a lot known about Love. He's just this enigma on the Green Bay Packers bench that has just been sitting for 3 straight years. All we really have to go off of is, again, the 10 games, as well as the preseason tape. But that's like against vanilla defenses. It's against backups. He's playing with backups on his side. So I just want to throw it out there. Jordan Love, what's your take on it? Let me know your thoughts. And as always, go Jets.